How's it going, guys? Was in the process of peeling my rims when I figured I might as well record a little how-to video on painting wheels. So today I'm going to go ahead and set up my car, take off the wheels, get it all prepped, and I'll show you the process as I go through. So if you go on YouTube right now, you can check up how-to videos, and there's a ton of people that try to paint their wheels on the vehicle. If you're trying to do this, please just ask yourself, do you love your car? If the answer is yes, please take off your wheels because that is the only true way to correctly paint them. So once you have your vehicle in the air and your rims off, you want to go ahead and give them a good wash. Try to get all the corners, all the grime off, just as much as you can clean them down, and get them ready for the paint. Alright guys, once you got everything nice and cleaned down, you got a good clean surface for the paint, you can go ahead and get started on sanding. Usually for a nice clean wheel like this, I'll go ahead and get started with 400 grit. But if you got a lot of issues with your paint, or if maybe some clear coat's peeling off or something, I would say get started with 220 grit and then work your way up to 400 grit and you should be good to go. When I'm sanding down wheels, I like to start with all the edges first, just all the hard to reach spots. Once those are all taken care of, I take care of the rest of the wheel. There you guys have it. Now it's all sanded down. All this white stuff is just clear coat that you're working down on, ready to get cleaned up. Let's go. Now with the cleaning process, I like to use a little bit of paint thinner, use with a microfiber rag, just wipe it all around, make sure you get all the corners. And there you have it, all nice and clean with paint thinner, wiped it down with a clean microfiber towel. Now it's time to tape up the tires. The best way to tape up tires is to use tape and drape. You can get this at any Home Depot, Lowe's. It costs about $7 to $8. Pretty good stuff. So as you guys can see here, I cut off a section of the tape and drape. With that cut out section, I slice it up between 2 to 3 inch pieces of tape. With those little pieces of tape, I slide in between the lip of the wheel and the tire itself. I really like to overlap the tape just to ensure you don't get any overspray on the tire or any issues. Alright guys, you got everything masked up, prepped down, pretty much good to go. Right before you start painting, I like to actually wipe down everything just to make sure I didn't miss any corners. Today, since I'm a little bit short on time, I'm going to be using a 2-in-1 paint and primer. You can get this at any Home Depot, Lowe's, I think even Walmart sells it. $6 a can, can't go wrong with this. It's beginner friendly, really good stuff. So here we go. So as I said before, just make sure you wipe down your wheel one more time before you start laying on paint. I also like to throw some paint on the inside of the wheel, just gives it a really nice uniform look. So once you got a nice coat on the inside of the wheel, it's time to start on the outside. First coat is always light. This first coat is a bonding coat, just to make sure that the paint itself is actually going to stick onto the surface. So what I like to do, I like to hit all the corners real quick, as you can see. This will ensure that I don't miss any areas or any corners that are usually missed from the first coat. After about 15 to 20 minutes or so, it should be ready for the next coat. I'll only be laying 2 coats on this wheel since I got pretty good coverage on the first coat. Since my wheels have a lot of spokes, I like to hit all the corners once again just to make sure all the corners have paint on them. And once all the corners are hit, I go through the entire wheel, just nice even spray through every spoke. Most important part about the final coat is to make sure that everything is nice and clean, even coverage. Alright, so I went ahead and just let the wheels dry overnight. Now the paint should be nice and cured, ready for the clear coat. So what I do, as always, most important part before you start painting, always got to make sure the surface is clean. I mean, overnight, any sort of dust or anything that built up on this wheel, got to make sure it's completely cleaned off. Alright, surface is nice and clean. One thing I like to do before I lay clear coat, I like to actually elevate the rim so it's off the ground. I just put a can of plastic dip under there and it actually makes sure there's space under here for the clear coat to breathe when you're spraying it down. Clear coat I'm going to be using for today, Duplicolor Perfect Match. You can get this at AutoZone for $8 a can. A little small can, but this is definitely worth it. Probably the best stuff you can spray out of a can. It's crucial to remember that the first coat is light to medium. If you lay on a very heavy coat, there will be a higher chance of you actually getting drips in the paint. I like to hit all the hard to reach spots before evenly laying on the coat. After about 5 minutes or so, the wheel should be ready for the second coat. This second coat and any coat afterwards should be heavy. I like to start on one side of the wheel and work my way towards the other. This ensures that I don't respray any areas that have already been hit. Once you finish the coat, the entire wheel should look nice and wet. Alright guys, and there you have it. Clear coat is nice and dry. Usually at this point you should start taking everything apart and putting it on the car or whatever. But if you're trying to go above and beyond, this right here is your solution. Meguiar's Ultimate Compound. What I do, I basically put a nice thin layer over the entire wheel and just rub at it as much as I can. What that's going to do is even out the surface of the clear coat, really bring out the shine, make these things look like factory. So here we go, I'm going to show you the process. I begin by putting some on a microfiber pad and spreading it around the wheel. Once all over the wheel, you rub it down as hard as you can to smooth it all out. Just for interest of the video time, I just did the surface of the wheel just so you guys can see the difference. Clean microfiber towel and just wipe down at wherever you wipe down with compound. And there she is. Complete process on these wheels, ready to take off this masking. Let's get started. And there you go guys, that's the finished product. Went ahead and threw some tire shine on there, got this thing looking nice. Honestly looks factory. I'm gonna be making a lot more how-to videos, so if you guys enjoyed this one, feel free to subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you on my future video. Take care guys.